Before we begin, please let me read the rules. First, each presentation will last for 15 minutes. Second, in this parallel session, there will be 2 presentations and the presentation will be delivered in a row. And for the presenters, I will remind you if you have 5 minutes left via the raise hand icon, and there will be a notification on the chat box if you have 2 minutes left. Fourth, we will have Q&A session after all presentations have been delivered. And then the last one, other rules can be found in the program book. Right, so there are 2 presentations in this room. The first presenters are Ms. Rizky Farani and Ms. Amanda Abdillah Suhaimah Safandiputro. And then the second presenters are Mr. Muhammad Badrus Soleh, Mr. Kisman Salia, and Mr. Sahril. Now let's start with the first presentation entitled Pre-Service EFL Teachers' Belief on Teaching Practices During Pandemic COVID-19, a Narrative Study. It will be delivered by Ms. Rizky Farani and Ms. Amanda Abdillah Suhaimah Safandiputro from Universitas Islam Indonesia. Ms. Rizky Farani and Ms. Amanda Abdillah Suhaimah Safandiputro, you may have your time.
Okay, thank you very much. I will share my screen. Okay. Thank you very much for the opportunity for us to present our findings. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning. My name is Rizky Farani. Actually, I conducted this research with Amanda, but Amanda cannot attend the conference, so I will represent our team to present our finding. Our title is Pre-Service EFL Teachers' Belief on Teaching Practices During Pandemic COVID-19. This is a narrative study. I will share. Okay. I will share my presentation to some subtopics. Its background, methodology, findings and discussion, and the last is conclusion. The reason why we would like to conduct this research because it is really important to listen to pre-service EFL teachers' voices, yeah, because they didn't have any choices. They still need to do the teaching practicum during the pandemic COVID-19 breakouts, and they need to teach by using digital media or digital platform. So we can imagine that even in-service teacher needs to adjust with this condition, and we can imagine the feeling of EFL pre-service teacher, yeah, because they are still practicing in connecting theories and practices. So many studies found that they may experience mental breakdowns, yeah, or mixed emotion, and it can affect their teachers' belief. So that's why it's really important for us to explore more stories about them, so we can support them with the system, either from the school or university. Yeah, and some studies, yeah, as I said before, some studies state that mental breakdowns, anxiety, fear can affect the teacher's belief. And it is very important for us to maintain their motivation so they can have a good spirit to practice their teaching. Yeah. And the methodology of this research is narrative study. Narrative study is a qualitative approach where we try to connect the story from the past, present, and future. Yeah, and then one of the noticeable thing in narrative study is actually a reflection. There should be a reflection from the participant about how she can manage to see the meaningful process from the experience. And in this study, we had one participant we use pseudonym Amara because she's female, and she's a pre-service EFL teacher in English Language Education Department. We chose her to be our participant because she agreed to participate in our research. We had the informed consent from her. And then she conducted all of the teaching by using online mode, during her teaching practicum. So she had really good stories to tell, related to her teacher's belief. And we had semi-structured interview as our main resource for our data. And we had constructed our interviews with 6 resource of teachers' belief. So we asked Amara about her experience as a language learner, because as I said before, that narrative study connect past, present, and future. So we need to know the belief or the perspective of Amara when she experienced her study in English Language Education Department before the teaching practicum happens, before the pandemic happens, and then we will ask the present or the current condition about the teaching practicum, and then we ask about the future, the perspective about her teaching teacher's belief. And then we will try to connect, all of the stories, and we told the stories to convey the individual's experience from Amara, And I will tell you the story. Before the teaching practicum, of course, Amara had many experiences to attend pedagogical courses in English Language Education Department, he had prepared everything because in the curriculum, it was a very complete course related to pedagogical things, not only about how to teach English, but also how to develop media by using many technologies, material development, language assessment, and then also another concentration courses. So the curriculum was very good to support her in preparing everything. The curriculum tries to connect every course, so it can support all competencies for English teachers. Okay, that's the past experience. So Amanda had a very good spirit, she was very confident that she could do, she will have success stories about her teaching practicum, because she thought that she would prepare everything in advance. But then when the pandemic hits and then she needs to change everything to online, actually she was very nervous from the day one, because she was alone. Actually, she was not alone. She had a partner in one school. But since the pandemic, the department changed the rule, the regulation. So all of the students have the ability to choose their own school. So Amara's partner actually changed her placement to another school. So as the impact, Amara was alone at the end. She was very nervous. She didn't know what to do. She felt like, oh my God, what should I do with my class? But fortunately, her supervisor helped her a lot. So the supervisor made like a timeline for her, so it can be one of her references in preparing her classes. And also the school provided Zoom facilities to conduct online classes, so all the classes were smooth. And then Amara also got support from her friends. Although they are from different school, I mean, the placement is different, but they still have like WhatsApp group to communicate with each other. They discussed every challenges that they had during the remote teaching, and they tried to collaborate to find the best solution based on the condition of every school. Yeah. Okay, so based on these stories, we can connect that some past, present, and future, yeah, to highlight some points. So I highlight some points in a discussion, yeah. After finishing her online teaching practicum, Amara realized that no matter how hard she prepared herself to be a future teacher, she should be ready for something new. So we know that everything in the future is unpredictable. Yeah, so although we have prepared everything, we need to have plan A, plan B, plan C, just in case if we need to change something immediately in the middle of our lesson plan. That's the first reflection from Amara's story. The second, the most dominant change in her life is her personality, because she could defeat her fear, anxiety, and nervousness during online teaching practicum. So this is actually a part of achievement, yeah. So achievement today in the classroom cannot be judged from the cognitive only, but since we can defeat all of the fear that we have during remote teaching, we need to reward ourselves that there is a meaningful journey that we continue to learn, because we know that we can conquer everything. Yeah, we are stronger. Yeah, we are more confident that we can adapt with the development of technology in every situation. Yeah, so technology is a part of our life now. We cannot deny it. So we have to adjust our cognitive and affective perspective toward the technology. And then the third, she was successful in maintaining positive attitude during teaching. And then she built mindset, then there must be a new learning in every teaching. This is really good story, yeah, because maybe it can be a reference for us and give us a hope that no matter what happens in during pandemic, we need to maintain our positive attitude. Yeah, we can do this. And then the last reflection is she felt very grateful since she had great support from teachers, supervisor, lecturers, and friends who always share their opinion to solve problems together. So the conclusion that we can get from this story is collaboration. So I highlight one very important keyword here. Yeah, we need to collaborate more and share more and help each other to give some kind of references or inspiration to other in-service or pre-service teachers, so we can strengthen our motivation during pandemic COVID-19. I realized that there is a limitation in this study because there is only one participant, yeah, but I really confident that this story can motivate us all to keep our spirit, yeah, to continue our survival efforts during pandemic COVID-19. Okay, good luck for us all. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Miss Anna.
Okay, thank you, Miss Rizky Farani. That was really inspiring. Let's give a big round of applause. Okay, now let's continue with the second presentation entitled Teachers' Beliefs and Practice of Task-Based Language Teaching in the EFL Classrooms. And it will be delivered by Mr. Muhammad Badrus Soleh, Mr. Kisman Salia, and Mr. Syahril from Universitas Negeri Makassar. Mr. Muhammad Badrus Soleh, Mr. Kisman Salia, and Mr. Syahril, you may have your time.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everybody. Hello.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Muhammad Badrus.
Okay, Honorable Director of Sanata Dharma University, Honorable the Committee of EA International Language and Language Teaching Conference, all presenters and participants, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala who has given us health and blessings so we can be together, although in long distance through this Zoom application. In this beautiful morning, I would like to thank for opportunity that has given to me to present my presentation with the title Teachers Believe and Practice of Class-Based Language Teaching in the EFL Classroom. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last 3 decades, class-based language teaching has been increasing attention in the field of second language teaching and has been held as a potentially powerful approach of language instruction. This approach has on paper with many features through the way that it allows learners to develop their language system through meaningful communication and interaction and in consistently motivating to the students. TPLT allows learners an opportunity to communicate language use through tasks. Therefore, it implies that language learning is a developmental process that can promote learners' communication and interaction rather than mastering knowledge by practicing language, and that learners can effectively use the target language when exposed to activities in natural way. This trend has developed into a practical framework for communication for communicative classroom, I mean, in which the learners perform task-based activities through the cycles of pre-task, task cycle, and post-task. Teachers as decision makers in the classroom are usually studied as important agent in bringing the new ideas into practice. Their understanding, belief, and perception about the new approach notes to play a crucial role in the implementation of the new teaching approach. In the sense that if the new pedagogy is compatible with teacher existing belief, the teacher are more likely to save it and adopt in classroom practice. In past 2 decades, the beliefs of language teachers and their connection to classroom practice have been much ahead. Um, some of what's that? Some of research is Simon Potts in 2011. Teacher research it seems significant because teachers are considered to active decision makers who thinking plays a major part in the transition of classroom. This research assists educators to enlighten teachers about the personal construction that may be valuable in the design and implementation of teacher education programs. Understanding belief of language teachers also has a significant impact on language policymakers in relation to this process deployment. Language teachers believe play an important role in the classroom practice and their professional roots. Teachers make decisions about classroom instruction in light of theoretical beliefs they hold about teaching and learning. Teachers believe includes their goals, procedures, materials, classroom interaction is a major determinant of how people act during language interaction. Then teacher can effect from practice in a major classroom practice by ensuring that they develop a theoretical orientation that is reflective to current and present research in this field. Based on the consideration above, this paper wants to investigate on the teachers to live on the PLC and its practice in the EFL classroom. The recent study used survey research design where a questionnaire was distributed among EFL teachers in some Islamic junior schools to collect their belief regarding aspects of Turkish language teaching. The research is not attempt to cover the whole population of FL teachers in Indonesia, but only focus on some Islamic junior high school in a specific context. The participants of the study were 13 English language teachers working in 5 Islamic junior high school, 4 teachers from school A, 4 teachers from school B, 3 teachers from school C, and 2 teachers for school G that participate in this study. There were 8 female and 5 female teachers, all of them faculty mentoring English language education. The EFL teacher experience ranged from 7 to 81 years. The recent question of the study are, the first one is, what are the teachers believe in Dutch language teaching, in English teaching at an Indonesian junior high school? And the second one is, how appropriate to the teachers to lead TPLT to before the students in Indonesia? And the last listed question is, for what practical reasons do Indonesian EFL teachers choose and avoid implementing TPLT in their classroom? To answer the research question above, the researcher used questionnaires using teacher belief survey created by Chun and Ho 2006 as a starting point. Questionnaire was developed to investigate belief of teachers invest in or already teachers through a TPLC approaches in Indonesia. The quantitative data from the questionnaire were organized, calculated, and analyzed by the descriptive analytical method. Dealing with finding and discussion of this research, the section consists of 3 parts. These are teachers' belief about Dutch language teaching. The second one is the appropriate teachers' belief about TPLT with the classroom practice. And the last one is the reasons for teachers to choose or to avoid TPLT implementation. During the first part, there is teachers belief about Dutch language teaching. The section of the questionnaire and to investigate teachers belief for TPLT in general as well as about criticism towards TPLT. Please have a look at the table. The table shows the result of the section of the study. From the table, we can what's that? We can see that in response to item 1 to 3, we ask for some key concept of task. The vast majority of respondents believe that task has communicative purpose, and a primary focus on meaning. It's about 84.6 to 52%, and clearly defined outcome 76 and 9 to 92%. And in response to item 4, most teachers is approximately 78.92% consider that as a kind and a task is a kind of activity in which the Dutch language is used in the learners. This implies that most Indonesian FL teachers generally agree with definition of task discussed in the section. And in response to item 5, a clear majority of teachers is approximately 84.62% report that they believe in the relevance between task-based instruction and communicative teaching. This partially indicates that teacher approving of the communicative approach are likely to adopt the best nature of TPLT. Let's go to the second part of this discussion is dealing with appropriateness of teachers' belief with EFL teachers' classroom. You can have a look at this table, and this table and the result of this part concludes that there is some appropriateness between teachers' belief of TPLT with EFL classroom. And let's go to the last section dealing with the reason of for teachers to choose or avoid TPLT in the implementation. Please have a look to the table 3. Table 3 we feel that the majority of the teacher report that TPLT increased student interaction skills and also followed its collaboration framework of learning that encourage the motivating and advance the student and their academic achievement. Uh, and the reason for teachers to avoid TPLT implementation from this was that from this research, it can be concluded that the data analysis of the question can be found that the ESL teachers had different reasons for choosing or avoiding implementing DPLT. There are something practicing teachers who had to apply DPLT in order to encourage student motivation, to improve interaction learning strategy, and to create collaborative learning environment. Otherwise, heritage to integrate tasks to the student and familiarity of using tasks large class size with mixed level student and appropriate material. And the last part of this presentation is conclusion. Um, we can conclude that task-based learning, task-based language teaching, and language process cannot be separated from teachers' belief as it becomes the basis comprehension of how the classroom activities should be running. And the second one is from this the study investigated teachers' belief of TPLT in expressed Indonesia as well as in the context of Islamic high school. We found that most of the school ESL teachers have in this research appear or to embrace strong belief towards practicing task-based language teaching. And based on the overall findings, the important implication for teachers proposed since teachers believe regarding instructional approach have a great impact on classroom practice, it's necessary for the teachers to have a strong belief towards CPLC in order for it to be successfully implemented. Second, it is recommended that teachers consider alternative solutions for classroom management, such as maybe labor tasks, peer assessment, and variety of various task types, including way information, for example. And the last is the researchers hope that this research will motivate curriculum designs and other researchers to explore more fully the view of those who are key to successful classroom implementation. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad Badru Soleh. That was so really insightful. Let's give a big round of applause. Okay, now it's time for a Q&A session, and I will invite only 3 questions, 1 participant, 1 question. You may use the raise hand feature on Zoom or type your question on the chat box. Don't forget to mention your name, affiliation, to whom the question is addressed, and the questions. Okay. Is there anyone want to ask question? Okay, if now I have a question for Ms. Rizky Farani. Earlier on your presentation, it is written that that teaching practices in this pandemic causes like mental breakdown and then mixed emotion, fear and anxiety. And do you have any suggestion on how to overcome that? Because I'm a 7th semester student and I just got that courses on semester 6, and yeah, I do experience that, and I still have, I still have no clear idea on how to overcome that feelings and that emotions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. Actually, feeling nervous or anxiety, normal, yeah, it's normal. But then, based on our training, in our department, we always say to our students that communication is the key. Yeah, the communication is not only to the school, but also to the department. So usually when a student has teaching practicum, they will have we call supervisor, right? Or dosen pembimbing lapangan, yeah, supervisor from the department and supervisor from the school, yeah. So we have to make sure that there is a good collaboration between the department and school, because it can help a lot if there is a miscommunication between the teacher and the students. I remembered my experience as a supervisor. Yeah, I always check a lesson plan of my students at least one day before they conduct the teaching practice. So I do not rely on the teacher, yeah, but as a lecturer, as a supervisor from the department, I realize that I also have responsibility to make sure that their lesson plan is on the track, yeah. And if there is something that the students need to ask to the supervisor at the school, but maybe they are shy, yeah, because they're just known each other for like a couple of days. So I usually help my students to communicate all of those things. For example, my student asks, Miss, is there any syllabus from the school? I actually wait for the syllabus, but the teacher do not send me anything yet. So I'm confused, Miss. Okay, that's the role of the supervisor from the department to ask the teacher, is there any syllabus that we need to follow or any template of the lesson plan? Especially now we know that the template of the lesson plan is changing, right? From the Merdeka Belajar curriculum, it's only one page on the lesson plan. So it's really new for my students in this batch to adapt with the new template of the lesson plan, since they got previous experience from the pedagogical courses. They used template from curriculum 2013. So it's like double nervous, yeah, for the pandemic and the changing of the curriculum from curriculum 2013 and then Merdeka Belajar, they need to adjust with many conditions. So based on my experience from last year supervising them, communication is the key. Thank you very much for the question.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rizky. I feel enlightened now. All right, dear participants, is there any one of you want to ask question? All right.
Actually,
Yes,
I have
please.
a question for Mr. Muhammad Badrus Soleh, yeah,
Okay,
about
please do.
the task-based, yeah. I first, before I ask a question, I would like to share a story. This is based on a reflection from the online teaching in my university. Based on the survey from the team in university, the students said that there were too much tasks from the lecturer. Although from your finding, I realized that the teacher should have a really strong or positive attitude about task-based language learning. How can we manage the amount of the task for our student so they still can survive with the online teaching? Yeah, because we are worried that they will have burnout or mental breakdown just because we give them too much task. Okay, thank you.
I think the main was that the key mean of to be success in doing task is as collaboration and communication. That to risky says that collaboration is very important to everything. Maybe the teachers and the students can communicate anytime using maybe group VR or other applications to make the task that the student has to be success and duplicate in a certain time. I think the students also need maybe a strong power to all to manage their time to the task in at home maybe to the task that given by the teachers. I think good teachers and students should maybe collaborate, should be communicate anytime to finish the task. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Rizky Farani and Mr. Muhammad Badrul Soleh. Now, because our time is limited, let us take a picture together. So everyone, please turn your camera on. We'll take a group selfies and I will count. Okay. All right. I will count 1, 2, 3. Again. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right, that's the end of the parallel session 1. After this, we're going to have the lunch break from 11:30 to 1 p.m. And then we will continue with the parallel session 2. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you for the presenters. Enjoy the rest of the conference and see you.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Muhammad Badr.